The cool thing I love about climbing is how accessible it is. You may have some kind of disability. You may not be like the size that you think that you should be, if that makes sense, when it comes to climbing, or like even age, you know. There's always something for someone to climb. The more you climb, the more you understand the movement of climbing. And so when I started out, I didn't understand the movement of the climbing. I was just like, what up?
What do you do when you come out as LGBTQ and love the outdoors? What do you do when you see the outdoor space ruled by older white cis men and desire a diverse community of outdoor lovers? Accept it, change it, create it. I am Justin Yoder, and this is LGBT Outdoors. What's up, everyone? I'm Justin Yoder, host of the LGBT Outdoors podcast, and I am here with my two co-hosts today, Patrick Thompson.
Hello.
And JC Rienton.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, JC.
Hey, JC. I won't say hi to Patrick since he's in the room next door.
How's everyone's week going?
Great.
Better tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
But
we're finishing touches on planning for our first camping trip of the year. Is that right? Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to say first camping trip, and I was like, that's not our first camping trip, but
no.
Yeah, no, we're going camping this weekend, so we're excited and needing to get out of the city.
Yes.
And from what I've heard, you guys are actually going to the same place we're going to be for Outdoor Fest later this year.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
I'm excited. Awesome. It's Rainbow Ranch down in Groesbeck, Texas. Big fans of that place. Been down there several times as just normal weekend warriors, but obviously a handful of times for Outdoor Fest as well.
Which you've come to as well, JC, our second Outdoor Fest at Rainbow Ranch you were at. Second? Yeah, this will be our third one there.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with it as well. So if anybody is listening and you're like, what is LGBT Outdoor Fest? Let's plug that real quick, because that's going to be coming up in September. It's September 22nd through the 24th. And it's basically a great weekend where people from across the U.S. come together. LGBTQ people come together, and we have a bunch of workshops that you can take, a lot of community, making new friends. It's a very uplifting and refreshing time is the way that I would definitely say. Either of you have any other thoughts on LGBT Outdoor Fest you would like to tell people about?
It's awesome.
I think it is great. I don't know. We have been, I guess, as the months go this year, we've just been talking it more and more, and it's getting me excited about my workshop. I already put together. So if you guys don't know, I'm doing outdoor fitness. So it'll be outside. It's going to be like a 45-minute workout that I'm putting together. I already have the playlist. Oh my God. I play it every single time I go running. And I'm just
excited.
I can't wait. I can't wait to show it. Maybe have a little preview on my my Instagram live when I do it. You'll just see me doing burpees.
You definitely have me curious. Just for anybody that's listening and thinking, well, I'm not going to that because I don't want to be working out. Just to be clear,
attracting people to this.
Just to be clear, that will attract some. Me, maybe not so much, but I just want to make it clear, there's a bunch of different workshops, and you get to sign up for the ones that you want to take as long as you sign up in time. The ones that sign up in time get to register for the workshops they want first before they fill up. So there's a bunch. I think we have about, how many do we have? 7 or 8 different workshops so far. And I think we're going to have a few more maybe. As fast as we are growing with people signing up, I think we're going to have to add some workshops. So I'm excited about that. But anyone that's listening and you want to check it out, go over to LGBT Outdoors, click on events, click on LGBT Outdoor Fest, and check it out. We have videos too from past events, so you can see what it's like. But we're excited for that.
there's a direct link, lgbtoutdoors.com/outdoorfest, and there will be a link in the show notes.
Yeah. JC, you want to talk a little bit about our ambassador program since you head that up? What's going on with that right now, and maybe if anybody is listening, how they can apply to be an ambassador if they are interested?
Sure. So recently we've actually brought on several new ambassadors. So we've opened up chapters in Louisiana,
Brody,
Kansas, yes,
Cody,
and we've also had added some more in our current chapters, and it's a pretty exciting way to be involved with the organization. If you have any experience with event planning, I mean, essentially the ambassador program, the ambassadors that we have all over the country, they're like boots on the ground. They're the ones that interface directly with their local communities and plan events, and they're kind of like the resource for that particular city, area, or state that that they're at. And that's how I started out as after joining, and it's fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get connected with all the other ambassadors, and yeah, it's fun. If you are interested in becoming involved, you can ask me for questions, but also just go to the website lgbtoutdoors.com, and there will be a section where you can apply to be an ambassador, and yeah, we'll go from there. Schedule an interview and bring you guys on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're growing pretty good with our ambassador program, and we're excited about that, of course. So it's kind of like the heartbeat of the organization, really, because our mission is to connect the LGBTQ community to the outdoors and to each other. And by having ambassadors around the country that can do these events in their local community, it is just taking that mission right out into their communities. So it's awesome.
Now, both of you guys have said planning events, and just for clarity's sake, like this isn't necessarily like, raves or like, I don't know,
unless it's in the woods.
Yeah, true.
No,
but what a lot of our ambassadors do, like they promote hikes or a kayaking trip, or go snowshoeing, or weekend campouts, like all sorts of outdoor activities intended to bring people together and go and enjoy the outdoors. So that's what they mean when they say events.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything too big. It can be as simple as getting a group together and going to the park for a picnic, or it could be like a weekend long camping trip. But we help them along the way set it up and execute it and promote it, and it's great.
We've done some litter cleanups as well, which is always super cool.
If you want to try and make sure you align with what we try to do, just think of our name. It has to be very LGBT and very outdoorsy.
There we go.
That sums it up pretty good. Hey, I'm excited about our guest tonight as well. And
Me too.
I think we should jump in with him.
Sweet.
Cool.
Sounds
so
good.
Our guest tonight is Jason Traylor, and he has a group in Atlanta, Georgia called Unharnessed Pride Climbing Club. And he got started in climbing about 10 years ago because his best friend in high school asked him to work at a climbing gym, and it stuck. So Jason, welcome to our podcast.
Hey, how's it going? It's actually nice to talk because it's really hard to just be quiet.
The struggle, real to be quiet.
It's so hard, so hard. Hi, how's it going, everybody?
We're doing great.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually kind of interesting. I because of you guys, I've actually become like a podcast kind of person. I like used to hate podcasts, and now because of you guys, I'm like, can't wait for the new LGBT Outdoors podcast. And so it's kind of cool to see
Nice.
see you guys' faces on my screen. But
I'm glad we converted you then. So the big question is, have you rated and reviewed us yet on whatever platform you listen to?
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I'm going to take that as a no.
Wow.
I didn't know that's a thing.
I'll give you grace
listen.
since you're new to podcasts. So yeah,
I'm a
no, it
little
helps.
baby.
It helps us like in our algorithm, in the podcast algorithm, and promotes us to people more whenever we get that. So shameless plug for that. Right there.
At the very least, you have to rate your episode really well.
I know.
Self promote.
He leaves a review. The episode that Jason was on was amazing.
The guest was.
Yes.
No, but I think we followed each other for quite a while now. I found out about you because you were tagging us in your post on Instagram, and loved seeing the climbing. We've connected with a few other climbers that have been amazing as well. But you with the club that you got going on and the group, just seemed inspiring and awesome. And so we wanted to get you on and learn who you are and learn about your group some. So if you can, let's start off with learning about who you are. Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like? You don't have to go back too far or get too detailed if you want.
All right, I was born in Northside Hospital July 15th, 1994 at 12:34 p.m. Okay, which is true. Really, is actual truth. So, I mean, now you can stalk me, I guess.
Well, we need your social security number yet before we can do that.
Social. Oh, you want the debt that goes with that? I mean,
maybe not. No, but let's just learn a little bit about you and maybe your coming out story too, if you want to share about that, because that can always be. Some people have great ones, some people have rougher ones, but I think either way, it can be encouraging to our community. So.
Yeah, no, I got you. So anyways, I grew up in Smyrna, which is a suburb of Atlanta. We were like 25 minutes outside of the city. I have an older brother who is a very outdoorsy person. So a lot of my passion, I guess you can say, for the outdoors, stems from him. And going on little trips, like bicycling around the neighborhood to going and picking creatures and bugs and stuff like that out in the backyard. We used to have like massive like aquarium thingies that we would like just have like snakes, lizards, frogs. Probably things that aren't like in the same ecosystem, but we're children, who knows? So we just threw it all in the same, thing, and then we fed them, and then eventually all died at some point, but as the circle of life it is. But anyways, so grew up in Smyrna, wasn't actually really athletic growing up. I was the kid that ate 6 cookies at lunch every day. I would have 3 chocolate chip and 3 carnival, which is the ones with the M&Ms in it, if you didn't know what the carnival.
I can relate.
I know, right?
I'm a Kit
so good.
I was a Kit Kat girl.
Oh, so good. I love sweets. Still love sweets to this day. So anyways, I was like that kid. I did drama in theater, so that's why I'm kind of loud sometimes, which I apologize.
Hey, you be you. That's what we always are saying. You be you. So
my people,
right? We try sometimes. But yeah, and so my friend, one of my best friend in high school, she worked at a climbing gym, my local climbing gym. And we do like a lot of things together. And so she was like, you should get a job with me. And I was like, well, I guess I got nothing else going on with myself, so why not get a job? And so anyways, I started working at the climbing gym. And then I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. I'm horrible at it, but like, it's fun.
Start somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I say. Start from the bottom, and then I'm still doing stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, no. So, and then that was 10 years ago, actually, this month. And so, yeah, no, it's just been just a fun whirlwind of seeing new places, going on trips, climbing, meeting new people, doing things, all that stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of like me in a nutshell. I guess I can talk about my coming out story, which is really non-eventful, to be honest. I'm like a weird gay that's like, if straight people don't have to come out, why should I have to come out? I can just be myself. And so that's really what happened. It's kind of interesting though. From like climbing, like it's not just like it was just a sport or anything like that. It's kind of cool how it like also kind of molded my personality. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands right now. It's not like these people can see that.
It's entertaining for us though, so we're enjoying it.
You're like, just keep, like but yeah, like it's crazy how climbing has like molded like my personality and like made me like more confident and just like who I am, what I look like, and all that jazz. And so I just like really just started being myself, just like, doing like very obvi gay things. And yeah, so I never really like officially like Facebook status, I'm gay. You know what I mean? I just, just started being.
You didn't announce it to the world.
I didn't announce it. I guess this is me announcing it. I guess.
Are you coming out on our podcast?
I am. I'm coming out.
Wow!
Congratulations.
That's a first.
No, honestly, I'm like, I'm trying to think about like how you put in like your Facebook profile that you've changed orientation. I think from what I remember, it's like when you switch like interested. There's an option, right? Like interested in male.
Yeah, I think like.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah, interested.
Yeah.
This was like 2016.
I know. It's like I haven't got on my settings in Facebook in ages, so I'm like,
right, yeah.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
But,
so your family, it sounds like you're pretty close with your brother. You have just one brother?
Yeah, just one. Thank God.
One's enough for Jason.
One is enough.
Was he supportive and family supportive, or what was that like?
Yeah, they're both supportive. I think starting out, like, I feel like there was some times where they would say kind of like not the greatest things, but it's early 2000s, like people say things and now we know like we've grown, so
yeah.
They're definitely completely super supportive. Like my brother, again, as he's an outdoorsy person, probably more than I am, actually, to be honest. He does like all the things. But he like comes to my meetup sometimes, because he also climbs every now and then too. So yeah, he comes to meetups, indoor, and he loves coming to the outdoor ones, and stuff like that. My mom, she just supports. She's not outdoorsy. She doesn't do any of that stuff, but
that's all right.
She likes the post,
She supports you that way. That's good. And then you ended up starting this climbing club, Unharnessed Pride Climbing Club. How did that come about?
So there was a gym that was opening up a couple years ago, and they were like, how can we be more active in not just the community that the gym is in, but like also different communities outside of the gym per se, like whether that's the BIPOC community or like whatever. And so I was like, oh, you guys could start like we could start like some kind of like LGBT climbing club or something like that. And so they direct messaged me and they were like, hey, like we would love to like be like the hosts of that and would love to help you out in any way to like start this club. And I was like, cool, I guess I just signed up to starting a club. Yay.
And what year was this?
This was it was 2 years ago in March.
Okay.
So what year is this? 2023.
2023.
So 2021. There we go. 2 years. There we go. 2021.
Nice. Okay.
So right as everyone started like gathering up again after,
I know, like they're coming
COVID.
out of their
that was I think that I know that was that time. That was fun. I do have to ask.
Yeah.
No, I mean, for me, it was pretty exciting because I think in 2020, when everyone was kind of just holed up at home, people needed that social connection. And I think in 2021, from my observation, there's a lot of people that wanted to get that back. So I felt like it was very easy to connect with people because everyone, for the most part, like for the people I met, had that need for like social interaction.
Sure.
But I wanted to ask, for Unharnessed Pride, how often, like, what's the proportion of you guys doing outdoor events versus indoor? Or is it half and half or mostly indoor?
So we mostly do indoor events.
Okay,
So we
nice.
have 3 set meetups, indoor meetups. So the second and fourth Tuesday, we meet at the specific bouldering gym here in Atlanta. And then the fourth Thursday of the month, we meet at a different climbing gym brand, I guess, just a different climbing gym. And that gym has multiple locations here in Atlanta. And so we rotate throughout those Atlanta locations because I just wanted to make sure as many people can access the group, access. You know,
Access.
You know, access. That's the word.
Words.
There we go. You got there.
I was a music major. I just looked at a page and sang what's on the page. So, you know, that wasn't written down for me.
I want to talk about that. What was your instrument?
Oh, voice.
Oh, very cool.
Hey.
That's fantastic. Tenor?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes.
Oh,
how could you tell?
Well, you can't see the certificate on, like, right behind me, but
oh yeah, no, I can see it. That's
orchestration for TV and film from Berkeley.
Oh, cool.
I'm a big music and theater performance.
Oh, as I see a keyboard in the bottom, and then there's some instruments in the corner. Wow.
A guitar.
If you didn't know,
touch.
Patrick is all about audio and music and theater productions.
Oh, there's like a little drum
give him that
over
flair.
there. Sorry, I'm just like.
I do value. I will say, Patrick, I do value your feedback whenever there's something that comes out, because you do give pretty insightful feedback on Facebook. Like if something comes out that's
like
I'm pretty sure when Wicked comes out, I want to know what you think.
Oh, I will have an opinion.
It's funny though, because we'll be watching TV together sometimes, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that's my music," and I'm like, "What?"
That's really cool.
What? Yeah.
Wait, so do you do you like write music too? And like,
I do, yeah.
Oh, so that's like you're literally like watching TV and it's like a song you wrote or something like that is on, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and like my music, and it's all library stuff that isn't written specifically for something, but it's mostly reality shows that'll go to my publisher and be like, "Hey, we need music that sounds funny or thrilling or whatever," and then they'll pitch a bunch of it, and then they'll place it, and I get royalties. Smiley face.
That is so cool. That's like a little Easter egg, though. I like you're just like watching some like Real Housewives of some place, and then all of a sudden it's like it's drama, and then it's like we have dramatic music brought to you by Patrick, and you're like,
yes,
that's my song.
Love it.
Yep. Yeah. It's been interesting to see some of the stuff he's been on, but anything from like Jimmy Fallon to Sex Sent Me to the ER.
Saturday Night Live
what?
Pretty far.
Where
There's
is
some
that,
interesting
like,
shows that we're learning
on?
about just because of his music. We can put it that way.
Yeah. So back to our guest. What's Jason, your favorite performance role that you've done?
My favorite performing role. So I'm a huge musical theater person. And so my favorite thing I ever did, it was actually back in high school. I was this character named Chip Tolentino in the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
That's a fun show.
I was like, someone loves it. Yeah, no, it's so much fun. And like his, great song he sings. I don't know if it's, this is a family podcast, so I probably shouldn't talk about it, but that was a fun song. And, yeah, no, I think that was like my favorite, like, stage moment is that role.
That's awesome. Very cool. Do you still perform?
Not as like much as I used to, that's for sure. I had this fun paid gig in December singing at this church. I actually just used to be the music assistant at my church, so I used to like sing and get paid for that on a regular basis. But I was like, you know what? I want more time for myself. And so I decided to leave the church. I still go to the church. I just don't work at the church.
You stopped performing there.
Well, no, I still perform there, but I just don't get paid. It's like, back to volunteering. It's fine. It's what I actually really love to do anyway, so it's good.
Cool. So I could hijack this entire conversation and talk like theater and music and all
That's
this
totally
kind of stuff.
Fine. All right, goodbye, Justin. Goodbye, JC.
Well, Justin's mic's off, so we haven't heard.
I'm a tenor too, so I can stay. Well, I'm actually lower tenor.
Yeah,
lower.
You sound more baritone to me, but that's okay.
They're still cool. We love a good baritone.
We do.
They're always the naughty ones in music school, that's for sure.
No comment.
Sounds like stories there. Jumping back to climbing.
Oh yeah, this is an outdoor podcast.
Share with us kind of, because I do know that you do climb outside as well, but what's the biggest difference as far as climbing indoors and versus outdoors? And do you like one better than the other?
So climbing indoors, you can say it's very gay. There's lots of colors everywhere. Climbing outdoors, it's not. It's like, you don't have all the pretty colors of the gym. But it's still super cool. The thing I love about climbing outside is you obviously are going on a nice, lovely day. You're not climbing usually outside in the poo-poo rain or something like that. Right. And it's just kind of cool. Like, it's more like 3D. Like you'll grab a hold, but then you can like also like go behind it or something like that. Versus like indoors, it's like, here's my hold. You can't really do that much, craziness with it. And also the sights you get to see. Like you climb 60 feet, 70 feet in the air or more, and then you just look behind you, and then you may have like this beautiful gorge behind you. Or I went this past fall to Greece, and I went on a climbing trip to Greece, and that was gorgeous. Nice. Oh, everyone should go to Greece. If you want to do a climbing trip, let me know. So good. But yeah, like literally everywhere you go, at the different crags, there's always the GNC behind you, and you're just like, oh, this is not real life. Oh, but it was real life, obviously. But
what's the GNC?
What is the GNC?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said GNC, like an acronym, and I was asking for clarification for our listeners who didn't know what that was.
You're totally fine. I feel like that was a little shady. I apologize.
The Aegean.
Aegean.
Cool.
It was
GNC is a supplement store.
That's where my mind went. I was like, what? Just climbing up this beautiful mountain, and you look behind it, and there's a GNC.
GNC. Ooh, get my supplements. Yes.
Anyways, a GNC.
Aegean. They even have an airlines too. Anyways, enough about that. But climbing indoors, the cool thing about climbing indoors is like, the convenience of it. You drive 20 minutes or wherever, usually close. And then you just go in. You don't need as much gear. And it's really obvious what are you climbing? Like, I'm climbing this pink route, so I'm grabbing the pink holds, you know? I'm climbing this green route, so I'm grabbing the green holds, versus like outside, again, it's just rocks. So you have to kind of like find your way. Luckily, like sometimes like, obviously we use chalk because our hands get sweaty and whatnot. And so you can kind of follow the chalk sometimes to like, oh, this is going to be the hands. This is going to be hands. So it kind of helps you with that sequences as well. But indoors, it's really obvious. Like, this is a green hold, so I will grab onto the green hold since I'm climbing the green route. And I guess I'm going to say there's the risk involved. Like, gyms do a lot to mitigate risk versus like outside. It's like, you're outside, so, you know, if that makes sense.
Good luck.
Yeah. You don't have a bunch of comfy pads all around you if you're bouldering. Yes.
Like if you have like someone new who is interested in joining, what are some of the, I guess, like requirements and like safety considerations that you communicate to them so that they know that they're trained properly and that they have belay certification and have all of that before they get started?
So it depends on like what you're doing. So there's like basically like two major disciplines when it comes to climbing. You have bouldering, and then you have like sport climbing. So bouldering is low level climbing you're not using ropes or harnesses for. So that could be like about like, 20 feet maybe at the most. I mean, you can do like some high balls and go a lot higher, but anyways, but let's say about like 20, 15 feet is generally what you're climbing. And obviously you're not attached to anything. And then sport climbing, you're using ropes and you're going a lot higher, with that. So, with bouldering, I try to convey, the most important thing with bouldering is the falling. 'Cause you want to make sure you're falling correctly. And there's ways to mess that up, as someone who's worked in a climbing gym for a long time. And so I always want to make sure that the person who's new to climbing knows how to fall properly and correctly, just so they're not, injuring themselves, because that's not fun. Yeah. Also, I don't want to deal with that. Like, not that I'm like, I wouldn't deal with it, but, I just don't want to deal with that.
No, I get you.
Yeah. And so that's the biggest thing with bouldering. I obviously, whether we're sport climbing or bouldering, I definitely let them know about like the grading system, kind of like, explain how it works. Like, you're grabbing onto these holds. Some holds are good for your hands. Some holds are good for your feet. Some holds are good for both, So try to grab the ones that are for your hands and then put your feet on whatever, basically. And then for climbing outside with ropes, so the cool thing about climbing outside with ropes is the person actually climbing doesn't, if you're like top roping, which the rope is already at the top at the anchor and it comes back down, so you don't have to like do any really crazy thing. You basically tie yourself in, you climb up to the top, and then you get down, you get lowered. So like with that, it's super easy. If someone doesn't know how to like tie themselves in or anything like that, I can do that for them. And then they just climb. So it's like super easy. They fall. That's why I'm here. I'm the belayer. I catch them, So they're not really doing any of the safety work. And especially like if we climb outside, we're usually like setting up all these things for people. And so they're not like having to worry about setting up an anchor or whatever the case may be. So it's pretty easy for like people who are beginners to get into climbing. I always recommend having someone who is knowledgeable of what's going on before, like, to go with you or something like that, to just, literally show you the ropes.
Nice.
If you're looking for high-quality tents, sleeping bags, or backpacks at a price you can afford, well, look no further. We're proud to partner with Sierra Designs, a leading provider of innovative outdoor gear. Outside of offering high-quality, premier outdoor apparel and gear, Sierra Designs supports game-changing organizations like LGBT Outdoors. To learn more, visit their website, sierradesigns.com, and enter code LGBT Outdoors to receive 25% off your entire purchase.
What are some of, I guess, from when you got involved, or like in the very beginning to how it is now, like what are some of the notable differences or can you take note of like, I don't know, like the size of the group? Has it gotten more diverse? Some of the things that you can take note of that's happened from when you started to now.
Are you talking about like when I started the group or when I started climbing?
Yeah. The group.
Okay, cool. I was like, you said you had a boat. I don't know what that means. So the group, so the group has definitely grown. It's been cool. My biggest thing about, and it's even in the description of the group, I guess, on Instagram. It's an LGBT plus group, and allies are welcomed. And so my goal is to create such a diverse group. So not just like, oh, let's just have a bunch of cis men climbing, which, outdoors, sometimes you have a lot of more men, and it's just kind of what it is. But my goal is to definitely create like a diverse group. And so like the past couple of years, we definitely have gained more and more diversity with like, we have several non-binary climbers. We have
awesome.
Nice.
Women, men, and not to mention different like orientations. We have our straight allies. And sometimes when we go outside, we have our puppies, our crag puppies. So we're all inclusive,
Ultra diverse, yes.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's the thing that I've definitely have noticed a lot is just the more diversity within the group starting out. And also with race too as well. So that's also a cool thing to point out, because especially like climbing in the Southeast, it's definitely very like Caucasian heavy, which is not a bad thing. It's just the matter is what it is. We're in the Southeast and there's just a lot of white climbers, and so it's cool to see like we have like some South Asians, we have our Black ones, we have some Asian people. Like it's just so cool to see that kind of diversity also within
that's
the
awesome
group as well. So
how would you classify Atlanta and like the Atlanta area, like, as far as being like a inclusive kind of city?
Like in general?
Yeah, like I feel like they're pretty cool. I remember once upon a time, many moons ago, I was in Atlanta for Pride, accidentally, but I went in like
accidentally.
Was it Peachtree Park or something like that?
I know. How do you accidentally like? Oh, rainbows. Where did these come from?
They're everywhere.
The homosexual agenda, it's being forced.
You just got thrown, like glitter just got thrown on you, and just like, whoa.
And that's my coming out story.
At a Home Depot.
But
that was random.
Anyhow, yeah. So I know they have a big Pride. That doesn't necessarily indicate being like an inclusive city, but how would you rate Atlanta, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like hyper inclusive, like there's nothing we could do better, and 1 is the opposite? I don't want to give any examples. Yeah, 1 is not inclusive, 10 is hyper inclusive.
Hyper inclusive sounds kind of like, ooh, but I was like, I think you're a little too inclusive right now. Like, calm down, show me some bigotry. I would say Atlanta on a scale to, and this is like, so with Atlanta, like the more Atlanta you're in, like if that makes sense, to closer to the city you are, the more inclusive it is. And as you go out, it gets, I mean, it's, there's some parts
a little uncomfortable
that are not the most,
Just, I ask because like we're in Texas, we live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which for the most part is pretty pretty welcoming and inclusive. The state of Texas as a whole is not.
What? Never knew that. I thought Ted Cruz was like the most like liberal, like welcoming person in the world. Am I wrong?
Well, I would say this though too. I think that there's a lot more accepting people in Texas than what a lot of people from not Texas would think. Even though that they might be super conservative, they still can be. I think there's more that are more accepting, but I don't want to go down the whole political path. But I've known people that have changed their opinions on gay people just because they got to know me and Patrick, because Patrick's parents live way out in the country, and we get to know some of those people, and it's, you know, like I know personally, and we know somebody that changed their mind on gay people because I told them the reasoning that we wanted to be able to get married. We've been together 13 years, so we weren't able to get married when we first started dating, and was sharing with him about the importance of us being able to get married, because like if I was in a car accident and was unconscious in the hospital, my parents could keep Patrick from coming in and seeing me, you know, or being with me. Whereas when we're married, then that puts an end to that. And that had an impact on him. And from that point on, his mind on same-sex marriage started to change, and he started to realize why. And there's a lot of stories like that of people in Texas. Still not trying to defend Texas necessarily, but I do think that there are a lot of people that are edging, I guess, the right direction.
Yeah, but I mean, it follows a trend in a lot of parts of the country. I mean, even in New York, you know, if you're in the city center, you know, it's always going to be more progressive than, say, like the rural areas. Because even in New York, that applies. In Colorado too. I would say California is an exception. But even then, like even in rural parts of California, people tend to be more conservative. So, yeah, just find the middle of that city and start dancing in your tutus.
As we promote getting outside.
That's the best place.
Jason, question. You said at the beginning of this episode, when you first started claiming that you were horrible. And my first thought was, this isn't really a hobby that you can be horrible at and have the opportunity to try again anyway. Obviously, there's a lot of safety protocols, like you were mentioning, like inside the gym, there's mats and all that stuff. Outside, you've got your ropes and carabiners and belaying and all this stuff. But how do you transition from being, in your words, not mine, horrible?
Okay.
And like, it's just an interesting activity that like I can't wrap my head around how you train.
So I would say when I said horrible, I don't mean like, oh, I'm just letting go with the brake side. I'm just like woo-doo. Like when it comes to safety, like the safety's always been there. We are 100% about that safety. But I meant like more of like the technique of climbing. The cool thing I love about climbing is how accessible access. We can come back to it. Full circle.
Nice. Well done.
Accessible it is. You can be, you know, you may have some kind of disability. You may not be like the size that you think that you should be, if that makes sense, when it comes to climbing, or like even age, you know. There's always something for someone to climb. So you can climb like the easiest thing, which is basically like kind of like a ladder. That's probably like a 5-6 or a V0. But of course you have your really hard things that, you know, I can't even climb. And so the more you climb, the more you understand the movement of climbing. And so when I started out, I didn't understand the movement of the climbing. I was just like, what up, on the wall. I guess people can't see what I just did. So they're like, what is that?
I wish they could, though. I wish they could. That was great.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I get what you're saying, though, like as far as technique, because I climb a little. I think like with time, as you do it more, just you kind of get that you kind of pick up that skill where when you're looking at all the handholds, you know exactly the proper form, which hand to use, whether it's the left or the right, or where your foot should be. But yeah, that takes some time. It's not just like a matter of, pick it's you just have to stick to the same color, and then you make your way up and you can freestyle. There's like specific ways of actually doing it, and it takes time. But like what you said, it's like being horrible at it doesn't mean like, oh, it's gonna let go and
yeah.
Jesus take the wheel on this.
Yeah.
It's not like skydiving where if you're horrible at it, you're only horrible once.
Yeah.
Like it's there's safety protocols around it, which is great.
Oh yeah.
What are some of the like benefits? Like, we get a wide variety of people that listen to this, and all around the world too. But if somebody is listening and they're just like, I don't understand why you would want to do climbing. What is it that created a passion in you for doing it? And why would you recommend people to give it a try?
My favorite thing about climbing, like, obviously, I'm a social person, so like the community aspect is like my favorite aspect of climbing.
Okay.
But from like a physical standpoint, for those people who are like, want to do something like fun and get into like, like more like, and I can't think of the word, active, that's the word. Like more an active lifestyle or whatever. Climbing is a full body workout. So you work your legs, your core, your arms, all that jazz. But my favorite thing about climbing versus like, and for those of you who go to the gym, like this is no like shot at any of you guys, but it's so boring. You're like 1, 2, 3 with like all those reps. Like that's boring. Like climbing, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do the side, like I'm going to grab the side pull, I'm going to lean, I'm not going to use this gas on. Like you're just doing all these different moves. And then at the end of the thing, you're like, whoo, I just like worked my whole body. So it's like the entertaining aspect of like, it's like fun, different movement and things like that. But you're also getting that full body workout. Also, it's very like mentally, stimulating, because you're like looking at the wall, you're like, how am I going to get from point A, which is the bottom of the wall, to the top of the wall, point B, with being the most efficient? Because like, especially if you're climbing 60, 70 feet, you can't just like pull yourself up. You're like, no one's that strong, and so you have to find and think of ways like how to be efficient. So that goes into like being like knowing technique and things like that. So starting out, you may not know the most efficient way, but it's still probably going to be fun. So like just also problem solving and all that jazz. And then also, conquering fears if you have the fears of like heights and things like that,
Or falling from heights.
Or falling. That's a huge thing. Falling is such a huge thing of climbing. And there's so many people who don't like falling who still climb. But, we can still work on that. But I think that's what I think the greatest appeal to climbing is like how accessible it is. So again, good for all ages and bodies and whatever. And mentally stimulating, problem solving, facing your fears. And then obviously it's an athletic activity, so that full body workout.
Definitely. I have not done much climbing, but I almost feel like it could be a therapy as well, and like a mental release, getting into that zone where you can just kind of let your problems and stress of the day go and be freed from that in a way too.
Yeah, no, I know like several people who are like, climbing has saved my life because like it was just such a great outlet for them to release all like their negativity and things like that. Not to mention like again, my favorite aspect, the community. Um it, that like really helped them and supported them throughout their journey with whatever they were going through. So I don't know. That's why climbing, everyone should climb. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you should be LGBT climbing outdoors. I say you should rebrand, I guess. I don't know. I'm just kidding. All outdoor activities are great. We love them equally, I guess.
It sounds like you're getting it covered. So, who knows where your group is going to end up. So maybe that's going to be your challenge.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not that organized, so we'll try.
What part of the community? You got to find a team. Like, obviously, that's what I had to do, is find a team, that believes in what you want to do and has the gifts to be able to support and move forward with your goals or dreams. I had another question. Like, I'm thinking about this as, again, I have climbed a couple times. It's been a long time. But if somebody wanted to try it out, can they, and your climbing gym might be different than others, but can somebody just walk in there by themselves and have somebody to be able to assist them? Or do you really need two people to be able to go? And then to go along with that, what does somebody expect when they go in? Is there certain things they need to bring with them? Do they need to wear certain shoes? What, like set somebody up for like, they're hearing this for the first time. You've inspired them to try climbing. What does it look like to go to a climbing gym?
So what I always recommend doing is doing your research to know like what type of climbing gym you're going to. So you have like your full service gyms, which are like, they have ropes and then they generally have bouldering and stuff like that. And then you have like maybe just your bouldering only locations. And so sometimes, like for instance, the gym that I work at, there's a certain age that you can boulder at. So if you're bringing young children, if you're taking them to the bouldering only location, that may not work out for you because your children may not be able to participate. So doing your research, so like either emailing the facility or calling. I really recommend just calling as someone, again, who works at a facility. Just answering some of those emails, I'm just like, you could have just called me. So much easier. So calling and seeing like what each gym offers, because each gym does offer different kind of things. The first gym I worked at, we offered like a staff belay kind of thing. It's called a novice climb. And so it was like a 2-hour session where it's a staff member, would be like up to 6 people. And like, we'll take you throughout the gym and belay for you and do all that stuff. However, like the current gym that I work at, we don't have that kind of program. So what we would do is we'd show you the auto belays. So auto belays are basically you clip yourself in and it does all the work for you. So if you've ever been to like a festival or like a fair, and they usually have those portable rock walls, those are generally auto belays. You just clip yourself in and then it just like, you let go and it catches you and brings you down.
So can you insert real quick what belaying is for people that have no clue about?
Yeah, I just assume everyone knows what I'm talking about.
No, that's the thing. We want to get people that have never done this excited about it and to try to go to it.
Justin, you are so right. I should just duh. Belaying is when someone is climbing, they're creating slack in the rope. This is when they're using ropes. It's the belayer's job to belay out that slack. So if the climber falls, they're just falling to that point versus like falling straight to the ground. So basically it's the person who is managing the rope and making sure the climber comes back to the ground nice and safely, if we can say. And then an auto belay is like this system that basically does that for you. You clip yourself in and then you climb up. If you fall, it catches you and then it'll just lowers you down. There's no like stopping per se, but it'll bring you back to the ground at a nice, decent speed.
A nice, decent speed. I like that.
Yes. Not gravity at 9.8 meters per second, or whatever that was.
Very good. I remember that from high school.
Wow. Was that correct? remembered from high school, and I tried to remember from high school, but I guess I did it right.
I think that's correct. That's the number
I like how you're like, that's correct, and then you're like, oh, maybe it's not correct.
No, it is 9.8, I think.
Okay, sorry. Sweet. I'm just giving myself potential edits if I needed to correct it.
Like, we didn't say nothing about gravity. So does that answer your question, Justin, about how to get started, if that makes sense? And then also, when it comes to what you wear, I realized I didn't answer that part. So don't shake your head. Yes, I answered all your questions.
Sorry, I gotta remember what all I asked.
Well, good thing I'm here. I remember. Right. So you want to make sure, I would recommend like anything you would work out in. You don't want to be constricted as you climb up the wall. So I really don't recommend jeans. Also, you are going to be working out, because it's a physical activity that you're doing. So anything that like is breathable, because you will be sweating. And for some people, you sweat more than others. Yeah, so anything light and breathable. When it comes to shoes, if you don't have shoes, most gyms have like some kind of rental program, so you can rent shoes and a harness and chalk.
So leave the high heels at home.
I mean, you can bring them to the gym, but then you can switch into rental shoes.
Okay.
When you get there. So the cool thing about climbing in like gyms, they definitely make it very accessible and easy for people to begin. And then once you have learned all of the things you need, then you go outside to the lovely outdoors.
Yes, absolutely. Nice. That sounds amazing.
So then just to so that you would recommend a brand new first time novice actually go to a gym, and receive some sort of instruction than trying to climb outside for the first time. Is that right?
If you're doing ropes, I recommend, going to a gym just to learn the ropes, literally. Unless you're going with someone who is experienced. I wouldn't just be like, all right, like we watched this YouTube how-to video. Let's go outside. Because as we say, right, as we say in the climbing gym industry, climbing is inherently dangerous.
Yeah, I feel like you've said that a few times before.
Yes, it's literally in our orientations that we have to say to everyone. That's how we started off. So like, welcome. First things first, climbing is inherently dangerous, and then we go into like everything else.
Do you ever say that and people just get up and walk out?
No, not like walk out, but a lot of people people either laugh, people are like, what? And then other people are like, oh, it makes sense. So I would say those are like the three like reactions.
Yeah. That tracks.
No, but it's better to like cut to the chase. Just you have to let people know it's not a sport.
Oh, you say that now.
Like
people,
you have to take it seriously.
I got some stories. Like people are just sometimes they just want to like. They just don't care about their lives or their friends' life, or they're just trying to kill each other. Maybe they just really don't.
But you really have to. All the more reason to highlight that in the beginning. That you have to pay attention. Yeah, this can really hurt you.
But on the flip side, I get not negating any of the danger or the concern, but qualified people, coaching you in a gym, there's all these safety protocols that have been around for years and years and years and years and years and have like a proven track record of keeping people safe. I'm trying to counteract JC's comment about people being scared and how scary and dangerous it is.
I know, as we're like talking about like people just doing stupid things. But yeah, no, like it is like, especially climbing technology now with like the ropes and harnesses and all that stuff, like everything is really strong and like tested so many times. So like the hardware is good. But just making sure you understand everything so you mitigate as much risk as possible when participating in these activities, if that makes sense. It's just having that knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That's great.
Nice.
JC or Patrick, do you have any
Safety begins
other...
with me.
Right? Yeah. Do you have any other questions that you think would be great for Jason as we start to wrap things up a little bit?
So I think you touched on it, and I think you gave me the answer, but I've always wondered what's up with the chalk. I've asked people, and they're like, oh, it helps you get a better grip. But you said, when your hands get sweaty, and like that kind of clicked for me. So is that the correct answer?
Yeah. So what chalk does, it absorbs the moisture that's in your hand. So it dries them out so that when you're on a hold, you're not like wet and sliding off.
Slick. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting new information to the world of Patrick.
That seems like the most exciting thing he's been about so far.
I know. Well, you're welcome that I could provide that.
Oh my God! Except when your hands are like super sweaty,
you're like, I'm just gonna get me some chalk and just like
turn into lotion. Just kidding. But yeah, it does help. Make sure to have it when you're climbing.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Jason,
we've
fun.
Thanks, Jason.
Thoroughly enjoyed having you as a guest. It's been a lot of fun, and I know that it will be educational to many of our listeners. So we hope that people will get active and give it a try. If you had to encourage somebody, you got an audience before you right now. If our listeners, what would you say to them? Like maybe they're thinking, I don't have a desire to do climbing, or I would like to, but I'm scared, or just a message of encouragement from somebody that has lots of climbing experience to a captive audience to give it a shot. What would you say to them?
I would say you don't always have to go to the top, like if you want to like climb like 5 feet and then come down a little bit, and then the next time climb 7 feet and then come back down, like take it little by little. And I feel like if you do it like little by little, for especially those people who are like afraid of it, it's really, you're like, oh, now I'm at the top of the wall. Who would have thought? I think that's the best thing to think about is, again, don't think you always have to go all the way to the top when you first start, And the cool thing about climbing, like, it's an individual sport.
Sermon in itself.
Oh, you're welcome.
For life.
Sermon on this rolly chair, I guess. Sermon on the mount.
That's great. So if people have any questions and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can find you, and how can they follow you like on social media?
So my personal one is JTray94. So that's JAYTRAY 94. Or you can message the group at Unharnessed Pride. And that's it. I guess it's Unharnessed_Pride because but yeah, those are the two social media. Hit me up. Let me know.
Sweet
questions.
Well, thanks so much for coming on and talking to our group and talking to us. I learned some stuff out of it. I know that, and I hope that it encourages others to give climbing a try, because it does look really amazing. It looks, like you said, it's very challenging from a physical standpoint, but I think to like many outdoor activities, it can be so therapeutic and be an escape for people. So it might be somebody's listening and this is your tool that you can use to escape and, get some mental clarity that you might be needing to try. So yeah, anybody listening that's going to go out and try it for the first time, shoot us an email and let us know how it goes. We would like to hear about it.
Like, I kind of want to.
I know.
Like, it's been
I say Patrick and Justin. I think we have a nice fun date night planned.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to come off like I'm anti-climber. I love climbing. You have to. Yes. You just have to be aware of the risks. To enjoy it.
Yeah,
and make it a long-term thing.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this episode. We hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed it. Be sure that you follow Jason. We are going to have his details in the show notes so you can check it out. Wherever you're listening to, please give us a follow, like us, give us a review on whatever platform that you listen to our podcast. It really does help us out, and it's a free way that you can help us out. So until next time, get out there. Thank you again for joining us this week. If you have a campfire conversation story you would like to share, please email it to us at info@lgbtoutdoors.com. Follow us on Instagram at LGBT Outdoors and join the community at facebook.com/groups/LGBT Outdoors. Become a partner by joining our Patreon, where you'll gain access to monthly bonus stories and exclusive content. For more information on today's episode, check out the show notes. For information about LGBT Outdoors, LGBT Outdoor Fest, local chapters, or to sign up for our newsletter, visit lgbtoutdoors.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and follow wherever you listen to podcasts.